I'm Andy. I live at CoHo and have since we moved in 2007. This has been kind of a huge part of my life that I didn't expect. I didn't plan to live in co-housing, but it's been life-changing.
I'm Christina. I've been here about 5 years and moved up from California.
I'm Steve. I started going to meetings 6 or 7 years before even CoHo broke ground and actually built the place. So I got to watch a lot of the decisions and conversations we had about how the choices we made.
Yeah, we have sometimes we play with vocabulary. We talk about the founders, and we actually usually put the cutoff of founders as everyone who is here at move-in. I only went to about a year of potlucks before move-in. And then we have, the folks who've moved in at one point or another. And then, of course, we have the kids who were born here or moved in here before their memories start. And so it's quite the spread.
Yeah.
They required us, the city, to make this actually a service road for emergency vehicles, so the underpinnings are strong enough to support a big fire truck or ambulance.
Can the fire truck actually drive all the way through?
The whole way.
Yeah, we've never had a fire truck, but we've had ambulances 5 or 6 times have to come in to pick somebody up. And we've had U-Haul trucks come in because while one of our goals is de-emphasizing the automobile and we have this car-free path, we do understand it's much easier to be able to pull the U-Haul up. It takes some tricky cornering and we have to move the barbecue. But
oh, it's a beautiful area.
It's always fascinating to hear how different people talk about the tour. I like to talk about this because we have what we call a design review process. If you want to change something, like at some point someone wanted to put in this little kids play area here, right? So we have a process. You submit to the community what you'd like to change. If there's money involved, we talk about what it would cost. And we, sometimes for a big one, that can be, people can get nervous about change. And this was one where I didn't get it. We had this uncovered area, so it was a little nice, but it was very hot in the summer and very wet in the winter. And people talked about, well, I think it'd be so good to have this area covered. And I didn't get it, but we have this idea, we work by consensus to talk about this. And you can, wholeheartedly agree to something, you can have a concern, or you can stand aside. You can say, I'm gonna trust the community wisdom. I'm like, you guys can have it. It was several $1,000s. And I was like, I don't understand why that's so important, but it's clearly important to you. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite place. This is where we set up for Halloween. We serve cider to the community, especially parents coming by. This grape trellis means that it's nice and cool in the summer, but then in the winter it loses all its leaves, and so we still get some light, but it's covered. It's amazing.
One of the choices we were not given was the post office said, that's exactly where we're going to put your mailboxes, and that's the way it is, end of discussion. We had the same sort of conversation with trying to figure out how to number the houses. We were told this is the way it is by the fire department.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's so they could get on.
So that's why our numbers, if you're upstairs, all starts with 2, because firefighters want to know, okay, it starts with 2, I'm going up the stairs. Yeah.
During the morning, it'll run through that whole wall up there in back of you. Just one.
So yeah, this is the atrium. And I don't know if you already talked about the...
No, not at all.
It's designed to look like a hop drying barn, which this property used to be a hop farm.
Yeah.
Another feature was that when we took the property over, there were a number of good-sized trees, maples. We cut them early, aged them, and then finished them so that they could be, we used the maples to cover this whole atrium, which has wonderful sound qualities for musical performancing.
You come in here with your guitar and play?
I have.
So in here, this is our dining room / meeting room. So right now it's set up for meals, but we also will set the chairs in a circle for our monthly community meeting or any of our incidental meetings that happen a little less often. We do a meal Before COVID, I think at our best, we had one breakfast a week on Saturday, and we'd have 2 or 3 dinners a week. A small meal might have 12, 15 people, and the biggest meals, Hanukkah dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, our midwinter feast, would have 45, 50 people, of about 50 adults and about half that many kids who lived on the property. COVID hit us really hard, and so we've kept Saturday breakfast. There's a breakfast practically every Saturday. Anybody who wants can sign up to help or to eat, and we're getting back there. We don't have a commercial kitchen, but it's a big kitchen. We've got a couple ovens. It's very much what the kitchen will look like while people are prepping, and it's a way we're able to connect.
And so we store more equipment, and we have, the sustenance team will buy bulk orders of all these ingredients and spices that are out there. And so you can come in and actually get, if you're low on whatever you need, you can come and buy it here, and you just put how much you take, and it'll be subtracted from your meal account.
So early on, a couple of the computer specialists put together a whole email system for our community, and they added another feature of a calendar where you could show that somebody's going to use the kitchen at a certain time, somebody's going to have a dinner that you can sign up for on Saturday, and it's a good way to have good communication within the community too. So here's a neat story. We ended up coming in here and using the standard rectangular folding up tables that are the size that you're on. And we found that through a meal, the people at the end of the table couldn't communicate to each other well. So some of the members designed the tables to be like this, of this shape, so it was easier to communicate. And then on top of that, your side is the flip point. All of these tables reduce in size and allow us to stack them over there in the corner so we can have a big meeting room.
Or a dance floor.
That's right. Somebody likes tango around here.
That's an ingenious design.
And our neighbor made them. I think he made
Yeah.
Yeah, this is when Steve said earlier about we harvested some of the local wood. I believe
I
all
think
of
that's
this
true,
wood
too.
is trees that were on site that we needed to remove to put in the buildings.
So another use that this room gets put to is we have a member who really loves to play
Teaching
the
marimba.
marimbas. And the whole room will be filled with, there's a half a dozen, or some over here, and some in extra rooms even.
Yeah,
So,
and she
okay.
teaches a class, so people have been.
Even the 4-year-olds are pounding
Yeah,
on.
she started them at age 5, and now most of those kids are sophomores in college.
Unbelievable.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But plenty of other adults.
So those aren't xylophones, they're
Marimbas.
marimbas.
But it's
okay.
very similar to a xylophone.
Yeah.
It's an African instrument.
Okay.
Made of wood, yeah. And tucked up here is a projector screen. So for our business meetings, we'll have a table and we can project documents and calendars, whatever we're talking about in the moment.
One interesting thing when you're discussing with the city, and this is probably true in any city, is there's formulas for how a community should be. Like condominiums, legally we're a condominium structure. Okay. And condominiums have so many square feet per household in the common house. Our common house is half again or double the size that it should be for the 34 households that live here. And that was a choice to make there be more welcoming space. At one point we'd hoped there might be office space. We don't really have that. But we do have a guest room. And the theory is that with our guest room, not everybody has to have a spare room. So in terms of living more lightly and more economically, we don't have to each have our own guest room. It's just when my mom's come to visit in 3 weeks, I've reserved the guest room on our same software where we do the meals. But then there's the bureaucracy thing where the city says, you also need a lot of parking spaces. And one of our values is de-emphasizing the automobile. So I wasn't part of this, Steve may have been, but there was a negotiation of, so if you have a guest room, that needs a closet because it's a bedroom, okay. It needs an exterior window, great. And it needs a parking space. And we're like, oh, but we don't want more parking spaces. And so the negotiation was, we have a music room and it has a practice piano, but also a bed. And the city's very clear, you can have a guest stay in your music room. But if it says guest room on the plat, then it needs a parking space. The Coho is built, most of the units are what we call ADA visitable, but the common house has full ADA accessible bathrooms, 2 of
So
them.
we early on, we made the decision with the, with the architects to make certain that the whole first floor of Coho is ADA approved. The doors are wider so that somebody who's in a wheelchair can come in. The bathrooms are designed that you can do it. You have to be able to do a complete 360 in a wheelchair, and they have benches in the showers. And all the homes, you can roll a wheelchair into the home. So the first floor is totally accessible for people with disabilities.
And like so many things, you do it to be inclusive, but then it has other benefits. When our kids were little, it meant we had room for a full changing table in the bathroom, which was really nice because there's room to turn around a wheelchair, so there's plenty of room to put in a changing table.
And yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah, here's the ADA shower as well. So, I mean, these things are also really, this bathroom actually got a lot of use. One of the units lost their hot water, waiting on a new water heater. So they all came in here and had this wonderful space to use.
That's nice.
That's
that
crucial.
helps.
Also, when one person in a family got COVID, sometimes people use this to, well, they left the COVID person at home and somebody moved in here. We've also seen a couple people got injuries and suddenly they needed an ADA shower.
Wow, you can really see the prisms in here.
Yeah.
And this is wonderful. The young kids, they really consider it theirs. They don't need a bunch of old folks coming in here. But that's really good for me because that means you got to clean it up and I don't have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, and this is great for when we have a business meeting and someone has a kid who is, safe to be alone. You can just close the door and they have a space to be in.
I'd come in here myself.
And it's sound isolated too.
Yeah, it did not.
Oh, okay.
For a while, right after move-in, there was no window there, and boy, it got loud. I don't know if it hadn't been installed yet, or if it was a later design change. But boy, you're trying to have adult talk, and we had 5 2-year-olds that move in, and 5 2-year-olds and 1 babysitter in this space. Ooh, we could sure hear them in the business meeting. So then we put in the glass panel.
And we also try and keep it multi-age, so something like this for the teenagers, and actually all the college students when they come home, they still play this. So we're trying to have a balance for different ages.
How close are you to OSU right now?
2 miles.
Okay.
Yep, and there's at least one current
Yeah.
resident who's
So
going
my
to-
kid, who was one of our 2-year-olds that move in, is now a OSU college student. He pedals to class. Most of our kids who grew up here have gone to schools further away.
Are there some that actually grew up here, but they moved into a dorm?
Noah grew up across the street.
He's like across the street.
Oh, okay.
And lives in a dorm now. But I think we also have 4 current college students who are renting here, who did not grow up here. But
It's amazing.
It's wonderful. And
This
it
is
keeps
crazy.
moving. It keeps moving and developing all morning.
yeah, he's done a bunch of libraries and a few like metro stations in Europe.
Museums.
He's got a beautiful speech because you do these unveilings, but of course this art is amazing today. And sometimes Oregon has a lot more, what did you call it, marine layer, a lot more fog. And he has this beautiful speech about how art is temporary and art is fleeting, and that's why you love it that he can give on the cloudy day when you can't see any rainbows.
He has a project right now. He's trying to do installations in 100 libraries in Oregon.
Wow.
So he had already done Corvallis Public Library, but he was inspired to just keep going. And so he's still working on them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. He said Wilsonville has 8 separate windows that all get the perfect light, and it's going to be just amazing.
Yeah, because his art is all about to the particular building. This is our living room / library.
Particularly when we first moved in, there were some of the young families who really used this as an extension of their home. It was a good place to take one of the kids so the other kid could nap, that sort of thing. And it goes through different usages. A big usage is to be a team meeting of 6 or 8 or a dozen folks. You can close these doors. The noise doesn't transmit as much.
We had a big ice storm. Was it last winter or winter before? and our power was out for like 2 days.
Yeah.
So this became a nice cozy spot.
So much discussion at move-in because, of course, people have complicated feelings about air pollution and everything else, and the decision was made to have a fire, like an actual fire, because when the power goes out, a gas fireplace wouldn't work as well.
Most of the people, when we first moved in, realized that they didn't have extensive walls that they could put bookcases on. And you could just see people cringing from losing their books or whatever. We decided to set up a Coho library. There's a whole indexing system and system. So that works pretty well for most of us.
Another use of this, we do ask every family, every person who moves in, at least every adult, to take a class in nonviolent communication, NVC, DMs, Marshall Rosenberg. We're very clear there's nothing magic about that one system of talking to people, but having a shared vocabulary where somebody gets up and they say, oh, I don't know what I'm needing right now, but I'm really frustrated. Having a little bit of common agreement and common vocabulary is really powerful. So Sunday, we're going to start our most recent, because we have 4 people who've just moved in and a couple folks who have missed it at one point or another, and a couple of us who are going to revisit it, can keep learning. And so that's a great use for this space, because when you close the doors, it can be a little intimate and private, there's a certain vulnerability in talking about your feelings and needs, but we do ask one another to engage like that with their neighbors.
And it's crucial when living in a community closely with your neighbors to have this good system to communicate, because conflict is unavoidable. It's just about how you deal with it. And this has really helped.
And we get practice.
One of the things I really liked, the first meeting that I went to of Coho people trying to figure out what we could work towards, they told me that the meetings would be, minutes would be taken. There was an agenda published before the meeting. We would have facilitators who helped, we would train our facilitators to help us run meetings well. And there was another piece, I'm sorry, my brain's shorting out, but that's worked really well.
There are 34 units at Coho. I think 8 of them are plumbed that they could have a washer or a dryer. By last count, about 5 actually did have a washer or dryer.
That is the Coho office.
Oh, right.
I love showing. That's how much influence it's going to have in your life. This is not run by an office.
And our finance team helps run that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the bathroom.
So it turns
This
out
is a large laundry room.
this is about the right number of washers and dryers for 29 households. And I think it would work everywhere. It's just you need more, because you see somebody, we used to live in apartments, and you see somebody else's, their dryer washers are all full. But if I see this sign that says dry normal, I just flip it out there. If I see this one on it that says line dry, if I'm feeling really spacious, I'll actually clip to one of our indoor drying racks. If I'm not, then I put it in a basket with line dry on top, and you just clean, because normally there are like 6 or 7 baskets in different stages.
It's a very active space.
And then we just switch it around. We don't choose to charge each other for this. We pay for the electricity and the maintenance out of our common house dues. And that way, again, each individual unit can be a little bit smaller and a little bit more focused on, the things we want to do. So the spot in our unit that would have a washer and dryer, then we get to have a freezer so we can store food.
And then behind you,
I saw all the
Everybody's
games.
second favorite games and puzzles.
so
I'm a huge gamer, so I love
this is
this.
all
At a
community
different point of interest, we used to have this full of videos and tapes that you could watch.
Okay.
But that's evolved and changed.
Yeah, and then this half over here is the free shelf and free area. So if you have stuff that you don't really want, but it's not maybe worth a trip all the way down to the thrift store, you can bring it here, and then your neighbors, when they come by, peruse the shelves, and stuff gets cycled through households. And it's really fun to see someone else walking around with your old jacket on.
Or as the kids were growing up, and you're like, oh, that was my kid's, tiger costume 3 years ago. But
We also have a big garage sale once a year in the summer for the whole community, so that stuff would go out with the garage sale too. Yeah. we have the day before is called Get Rid of Stuff Day, where everyone brings their stuff down to the common house and we sort it all out in preparation for the sale. Yeah.
One of our kids, who I think of as a 5-year-old, but she's 25 now, but I met her when she was 5, got really interested in community health and preventing harm minimization, and she got us a Narcan kit that the county gave out. Haven't had to use it yet, but great to have this. Also, you can buy toilet paper, write down your name, and you don't have to. Again, that's more on the eco side, so you don't, oh no, we're out of toilet paper, now I'm going to drive to the store and back. We just try to make it easier for one another.
We used to make our own laundry detergent that was super simple and really good for the environment and for your clothes. The people who've been making it kind of shift, so, but there's always a big bucket of detergent here. You can also bring your own, which are labeled up there with people's names.
We try to make line drawing really easy. I have a pollen allergy, so I'm not a line dryer, but we try to make it easy for everyone. So we've situated, in addition to the racks you saw inside, a bunch of clotheslines you'll see around the community. And so one of the great things about the Common House is you can often host a thing. We'll have the Waldorf School potluck here because we've had some Waldorf School families. We'll have Guide Dogs to the Blind. They'll have a meeting there. Girl Scouts will use that space. That's kind of fun. Unless you live in a very large house, it's rare to have a huge room with a big kitchen. So and we're walking on the car-free path, which is one of the most beautiful things. One memory I will have for the rest of my life is walking out onto this path just after move-in, the early spring after move-in, and looking left, and there was what I can only describe as a peloton. 2 to 5-year-olds on bicycles and scooters racing down this path. It's glorious. So
that's fun for them.
On one side, the south side of the path, we have these townhouses. So it's a 3-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom. And on the north side of the path, we have flats. So we live down here. We have neighbors above us. We have neighbors to the side and neighbors above them. So there are 4 flats in there. The ground floors are all ADA visitable, meaning they're friendly to get a wheelchair into and out of. And that didn't even mean anything to me at move-in until in the year before, one of our founders, who's no longer with us, passed away, 5 years ago now? But we would sometimes, we lived in just a rented house, and we literally put a plank up to somehow get him to be able to roll up into the house. It was terrifying, and took for granted, oh, now here we can just, people in wheelchairs can visit, can be part of the life of the community. Everybody tends to take care of the space in front of their units. There are teams, there's a grounds team that takes care of big things. The colors, oh gosh, sometimes we have these big, epic Coho conversations. When we moved in, the colors were, I'm going to say off drab. There was a gray green, a gray red, a gray blue, and a gray. And that was because it was really important. There was a nonprofit that operated as our developer, and they really needed to recover their money. And the advice in real estate is you'd make it non-objectionable. And then we had a year of conversation when it was time to repaint. Were we going to go with the same colors or different? And the whole community was involved. One of our, she was 10 at the time, 10-year-olds was heavily involved. And at some point, this color scheme was proposed, variations. Someone said, it had to be like living in Dr. Seuss. And I'm like, yeah, it would be. And it turns out it's worked really well. There was a lot of feelings, but it's got some character. And in the winter, right now, we're late summer, early fall, and we still have a lot of beautiful color. But in the winter, we'll lose a lot of these leaves, and then there'll be some color when it's grayer, and that's really nice.
So one Sunday, as we were having our meeting, we probably still had 50 people, adults that were interested in Coho and trying to figure out what to do.
This was the weekly potluck every Sunday for
and meetings and decisions and information that had to be shared. A man stood up and said that he ran a local nonprofit in town that dealt with disabled people who needed at 20 years old to start finding permanent living situation. And he said his board had decided to buy a 4-bedroom unit here, put 3 clients into it, and use the 4th bedroom for staff to be able to stay overnight. So from what I understood, we were the first in the country to invite a place like that into our community. And overall, it's worked really well.
Yeah, that organization, Home Life, is they have many homes throughout the valley in the area, but I think we're their only co-housing.
Our friend Mike, who lived in that unit over there, totally wheelchair bound. He couldn't move his body below his shoulders, so he moved his wheelchair with this. But when it snowed, his wheelchair had enough traction that he could drag a rope of 10 kids in sleds up and down the path. And everybody's smiling and laughing, and what a great thing it was. We were very lucky to have Mike as one of our members. So a group of people started meeting and decided of our community members that they would buy a unit and put Mike in the unit. He could pay whatever he could afford to pay. We'll somehow work out the rest on the finances. And Mike's got a permanent place to stay. And he was able to stay until he passed away 4 or 5 years ago. And we opened up the process for another community member to live there if they were disabled under those same kind of circumstances. And we've gone ahead and done that. And it's been, I think we were also the first in the country to do something like that, of all co-housing. So both units over here are something that's really special.
Yeah, that one we actually founded, or I shouldn't say we, a bunch of people who lived here actually founded a 501c3, so that unit is owned by that separate nonprofit.
And they paid it off?
It's paid off now, and in perpetuity will be a space for a person with a disability, using the federal rules for that, to live in co-housing, which is kind of cool. They only just moved in, what, in the spring? So I haven't seen their Halloween decorations yet.
So they are the newest members.
Actually, second newest.
Oh, second newest now. Okay.
Yeah, after years of very little turn.
Hello. We're here. We're here.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Mark.
I'm Mark, Virginia.
Virginia.
I'm Dan.
Dan, nice
Do you
to
want
meet
to be
you.
mine?
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Nick.
Hi, I'm Andy.
That's polite.
I met you guys.
Looks like we've been here for 5 months,
Okay.
something like that.
And how do you like it?
But who counts?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It's great to live in a neighborhood where we know everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did you move from?
The other side of Corvallis.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We
It's a
moved
long trip.
about 4 miles. Yeah, from your basic disconnected neighborhood
Sure.
to
Sure.
here. Yeah.
And what made you move into or look for the eco housing type of a situation?
Well, we've been interested in co-housing for a really long time. And we've been interested in this co-housing community for a long time. And there was finally an opening. And why were we interested?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, what?
To live with people we know, to live in a multi-generational community where there's people from 1-year-olds to 80-somethings, and just the diversity and vibrancy of a community.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. And how did you hear about eco housing or co-housing originally?
Virginia has been the lead on this for literally decades.
Okay.
We've been interested for decades, and we actually
Yeah.
lived in co-housing elsewhere for a period of time, and we left there because of work, not because of the co-housing.
We actually considered Coho in 2008.
And we moved to Corvallis because of this community.
Oh, okay.
But it turned out there wasn't. We thought there was an opening, and there wasn't really an opening. So
Oh, okay.
that's the best way to put it.
So, but where did you move from though? When you first came to Corvallis?
Duluth, Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Wow. Almost. Yeah. Okay.
She's a Minnesotan.
Okay. And are you from this area, or are you also?
No,
Minnesotan?
I'm from Philadelphia.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
mixed neighbor. Mixed
Marriage.
But it's working out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
40 years, we're sort of getting it down now.
You're starting to learn each other.
Yeah.
So this unit, is it kind of like the rest of the units? Kind of the
It's
same.
the smallest size.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's 2-bedroom. But
Okay.
it's really spacious. These buildings are really well constructed, really well insulated, but it feels, for a small space, it feels incredibly spacious. And,
It feels really quiet in here too.
very quiet. Yeah, great views of the sky, of the forest, of the whole community. This community it was so beautifully designed because it was designed to interact with neighbors, unlike the typical suburban neighborhood where the garage is in front of the house. You can go in and out and never see your neighbors. Cars are parked away. And so it's just so beautifully designed. And you can see from all the units, you can see the rest of the community. But the buildings are a little bit offset, so you still have a lot of privacy.
Can we get a tour?
Sure. Yeah. Highly efficient kitchen. Small, but gets the job done. And on the other side is bike storage, bike equipment, and recycling down here.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Very
Well-
cool.
And we have we just made a little entry closet there, since we don't, these units are small, not room for a closet, but we have everything we need. Again, this is only a 2-bedroom apartment. It's 750 square feet, but we have room for holidays and visitors to expand our table. We just have all the room we possibly need. Cozy living room. And then we just blocked off the living room from the bathroom with bookcases.
Oh, okay. That's a nice idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
And we might build a wall out with shelves on both sides. You never know. Spare bedroom and our main bedroom. And we also use this spare bedroom as an office. Yeah, then we have more storage in here as a utility closet,
Okay.
which I'm not going to invite you into.
Sure.
And then bathroom.
This is a 2-bedroom flat. So the buildings on this side are all flats. So there's either a 2-bedroom and a
3 or 4.
3 or 4-bedroom, and then same thing downstairs. And then the other side of the path are all townhouses.
So they're all
mixed-
2-story.
mixed with
Upstairs,
bedrooms.
downstairs.
Some of 1 to 3-bedroom.
And the floor plans are all quite different, but they're all really beautifully designed with great insulation, great windows, really nice airflow. We have air-to-air exchange. I mean, it's a heat recovery ventilation system. It's beautifully ventilated spaces. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, lots of light.
Yeah, you have
Lots of
lots of light up here, but I think, and this is one of the best, but I think in general, there's pretty good light in most of the units, natural light.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a balance between the greenery and the lush, how much
Sure.
how much plant life you want versus the light.
Sure.
And what time of year, how if the leaves are there.
Yeah. We haven't turned it's October, what day is it today? 15th or 16th?
16th.
Yeah, we have not turned our heat on for the year yet at all. And we get a lot of
45 degrees outside.
45 degrees outside. We get a lot of solar gain from outside because this is south, that's west. And then, I think the refrigerator and just the basic appliances generate enough heat, and it's so well insulated that it's in the 60s in here. It's not super warm, but it's plenty warm enough. This gets hot. We actually installed a heat pump.
Oh, okay.
For cooling.
Yeah.
But even in the high 90s, we use it maybe 3 hours a day in the afternoon. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Like
there's
right
so
around
much air
3
circulation.
o'clock to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. That was
Yeah.
it.
And this is probably one of the hottest units because we have a huge
So much sun.
western exposure, and so yeah.
Yeah, and the units on the other side, they stay just almost cold even in the hot times. So they're set.
A lot of tree shade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the walls were built to R50, and another advantage is I play guitar, and some nights I get the urge at 11 o'clock at night and plug my amp in. My neighbors never complain. They have never heard the noise, and they say every now and then we hear it and we like it. So that works out pretty well.
So that means that it is really well insulated. then.
Really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And we have a lovely little deck out here.
I saw that
So,
and
it's nice.
and nicely decorated for Halloween already.
Of course. There's kids in this community, so we got to do things like that.
Ain't that
You
right,
decorated
Christina?
with a 5-year-old.
Yes,
helped.
one of our local 5-year-olds helped me
Nice.
put these things
That's
up.
fun.
Yes.
That's
But
fun.
she had opinions about everything.
Of course.
Yeah, very strong
And
opinions.
she was right.
She was absolutely right. I was wrong.
This is a fantastic Halloween venue because we'll talk about the car-free path, but grown-ups can plant themselves at the common house, and the kids can go door to door to door to door to door to door without ever crossing the street. So,
And they know everybody.
and yeah.
So it's a safe neighborhood. You don't mind them walking around. Yeah.
But even the larger community, like other neighbors,
We've got a lot
not
more
in the
than
cohousing
us.
community. No, it's a
Oh.
nice one-stop shop.
For all your Halloween needs.
So are you already stacked up for Halloween, ready for the candy give out?
Well, we think so.
Yeah.
It's in an undisclosed location in
Well,
this
you haven't
apartment.
been
I'm not
here.
telling you where it is.
You
but-
you haven't been here for Halloween yet.
no,
though.
we were in the other part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're Halloween aficionados.
We've already got our plans for cider, and I think you and Stacy are talking about putting a sign out early this year.
Yeah, to invite
reminding
people to come by. Yeah, should be good. It's on a Friday, so I'm hopeful.
We have codes on a lot of our doors, for instance, the shops, and all community members know it. We do ask anyone who's going to use the shop to build to take a shop safety class. And we had a wonderful guy who taught local community college, taught shop classes, came and gave us a safety class. And so we have a sign-up list. Also, this is a place where you can check out if you need a hand drill or vice grips or all the Allen wrenches. You can come check stuff out. The stop saw is new. The saw stop is we bought as a community, or one of our members bought for us. But almost all of this is just the best bits of all the home shops.
When we moved in, there were 43 hand saws, electric hand saws. And we had to, well, how many do we need? So we sold a bunch and we gave away others and kept the best 3 or 4 for ourselves.
So how many EV stations do you have?
I think we're up to 7.
Yep.
Okay.
2 behind you over there.
And how many EV cars do you think you have here? About 7?
Yeah.
And more coming, and we don't know how we're going
Yeah, we have to keep
we
it
haven't
in.
resolved yet how we're going to figure that out.
Yeah, we kind of have just enough parking spaces, but that kind of assumes that it's rare for everybody to be home all at once. And so as we have dedicated spots, everyone with an electric vehicle has a dedicated spot to plug in so they can pay the community back for the electricity.
This is the bike barn.
Amply named.
Yeah, I like to say that Corvallis is a really safe town. People feel, like my female friends feel safe, tell me they feel safe walking alone at night. Unfortunately, your bicycle is not safe in Corvallis. We're a college town with a lot of bicycle theft. So about a couple months after move-in, we had 11 bicycles stolen in a night. And at that time, this was an open shed. And so you can kind of see how one of our early work days, we paneled in this whole thing to deter theft, and that's gone much better. Also, it's our kayak barn. We're still kind of at the tail end of the season, so not all the kayaks are hung back up. But speaking of group goods, not everybody needs their own kayak, but if I want, I can borrow one. And that's fun. Christina's done a ton of work, and so some of these bicycles are labeled as loaners.
Yeah, we have a little section of loaner bikes now so that maybe you don't ride a bike very often, you can just use that one here or there. Or more importantly, when you have people visiting, and even with kids, we have loaner kids bikes so that you can bike around town. And yeah.
And loaner helmets and stuff. But also, I bicycle commute every day, and my tire is flat. And so yesterday, I commuted in on a loaner bike, and that was a lifesaver, because otherwise, and I've done this before, I could wake up a neighbor and borrow a car. And that really is a thing that happens here. But oh my gosh, it was nice to just have a loaner bike.
Another nice thing about this room is as soon as you step in, the lights are activated by motion, and they shut off as soon as you leave. So it's a very efficient way to both get all the illumination that you need and to not waste energy. This is also a good place to store ladders. So we've got 6 or 8 ladders over here of different sizes.
And because of our units, we have a bunch of units where you need a ladder regularly, but we don't have to have 34 of them.
We have a repair shop, so for people who know how to do it all themselves, they can. We have some like water sport equipment, so this is full of life jackets and some other games, outdoor games. And then in here, we have some more bikes, lots of tandem bikes. And on this wall, we have freezers.
So are the tandem bikes also loaners, or are they owned by somebody?
One of them is, the others
Okay.
are belong to someone.
And the last tiny bit of the lumber that we reclaimed when we moved in, most of them have become tables or benches or other projects over time. But
And we have, same thing, shared coolers. So you don't all need to store a giant cooler in your house.
So as far as the tandem bikes, the coolers and whatnot, do you have to check them out, or is it just kind of
Not yet, yeah. Coolers, not usually. I don't think.
it's just the honor system right now?
yeah, and we've helped remind each other. You'll notice one of them stenciled with CoHo. A couple of them are labeled really clearly, so you don't accidentally leave it at your cousin's house because you don't recognize it.
And we have lots of inner tubes and floats and stuff because we're right next to the river. You can actually walk to one end of the park, jump in the water, float down to the boat ramp or close by, and get out and walk back.
Takes about an hour, and it is on a hot day.
Without even using
I bet that's used a lot.
Legally, we're a condominium, so everybody pays monthly to the homeowners association. That's somewhere a little south of $300 a month, depends on the size of your unit.
Exactly. How many bedroom units?
And that covers the garbage, the electricity, the property taxes for the, not for your unit, but for the property. We fund an annual wellness retreat where we all go to camp for a weekend. We're going to go Memorial Day weekend this year. And so all those, and then maintenance of this, we just recently repaved. It was the first time we'd had to repave since move-in. The life on the paint job is 20 some years, so then we're saving. It seemed expensive to me on move-in because I'd been basically a college student and a very early teacher. But one of my engineer friends pointed out that if you carefully were saving for a roof year after year, like theoretically you should, so that you could write a check for a 30-year roof in 30 years, it comes out about right.
So this is our gazebo garden and orchard. The gazebo area and all these plants over here are 2 years old. This used to be mostly just brush pile and
Blackberry
weeds
bramble.
And we've completely, restored it, revitalized it. I'd say 90% of these are native plants. So there's a lot of ecological work that the community tries to do, keeping a lot of native plants. And then the orchard, those are all trees that were planted on move-in, I think. So we've got figs and pears and persimmon and plums and apples. And boy, do we get a lot of fruit. We have an orchard club that you can join and take care of the fruit. We often have excess that we take to the food bank or give to friends and family. But there's such an abundance. Coming from where I came from in California, there's so much fruit. It's amazing. Yeah. The orchard team has their whole schedule. It ebbs and flows when the fruit. Sometimes it's a lot of work all at once. Like, go out, the figs are ready, and then we deliver them to whoever's in the club. Same thing. This was
One of our outdoor meeting spaces.
yeah. And we wanted a nice sheltered area for something in the winter too, that's out of the rain, where you could come and be outside. Sometimes we have tea times. We have a tea time out here, but it's just a nice, cozy area to hang out. We've had a meeting where there was so much going on in the common house. We had like 20 people out here, just all bundled up and curled up. And it was a lifesaver that we had that space.
A lot of people brought camp chairs.
Yeah, or sat on the ground. But it worked.
Goes into one of the ideas we play with is permaculture, right? This idea of zones of activity, and this is by design a quiet space, further away from the hubbub. So the plants are meant to be, as I understand it, a fair amount of work as we're establishing them, but then aren't the sort of thing you're going to need to touch every single day. So we installed a well and a pump and a cistern. It's a 3,000-gallon cistern, so it's a substantial amount of water. We found originally we weren't the original design didn't have a cistern. We found the pump was slow enough that when irrigation season comes and people are pouring a lot of water, we can have the pump running more or less continuously, and then at 4 p.m., that cistern will drain a lot as people water things in the evening. Or I'm not a gardener. Whenever you, because you don't water in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah. This is our lawnmower shed. So I remember when I was touring and learning about co-housing, it was like, it's great, you can share all this stuff. Not everyone needs their own lawnmower. You can share. So we have 2 electric lawnmowers and tools, hedge trimmers, and, it's just this is like a classic example of moving into co-housing, sharing some tools that you don't all need to store it in your garage 95% of the time.
Yeah, and therefore you need 32 fewer garages as well. In the heat of summer, this is one of the more beautiful places on Coho because of the tree layer. It can stay cool even on a 90-degree day. We'll hit 100. And it's still, something about tree shade.
Yeah.
Really helps.
We have a little greenhouse over there. I don't know if you want to go look at it. It's not in use right now because
I don't think it's a lot to see, but
it's really nice because we have a colder climate to start your seeds early and get things going.
The neighborhood is oriented mostly east-west to maximize how much roof solar we can have. When we moved in, I think 18 households pooled to put in photovoltaic on the roofs. And that was one of those classic conversations you have. Well, how do you split that? In some sense, we all have an equal share in the roofs. We all own that. And we decided, same logic, that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The best time to put in the voltaic is now. And so we prioritized people who had the ability, funds, headspace to put it in. And that way we got a lot of solar going. My household, we didn't contribute to that because we couldn't afford it right then. But it means that rather than us meaning to get around to it, we prioritized people who were kind of shovel ready.
Yeah.
And so this is another one of those things where you own your home.
Yes.
And then you co-own the land, right?
That was the only financial model that the state would allow us to use.
We describe ourselves as an eco-village. And so I sometimes say some of my neighbors are more eco and some of us are more village. I'm definitely a village person, but I live lighter than I would. I'm a bicycle commuter, and I don't know if I'd do that if I lived in a standalone stick-built house. I think I recycle and compost far more than I would. But there are things that are challenging. When we moved in, a bunch of us were really interested in a hot tub. And that was a really hard thing for some of my neighbors to imagine because a hot tub, do you really need that? It's maybe not the most eco thing. But we eventually worked through that we could form a hot tub club. And those of us who wanted to, it's about 8 households, give or take, pitched into this. And there was a beautiful morning like this where we had, by that point, the kids were 5 or 6. And we had 5 or 6 kids with those Makita screwdrivers building that deck. And the hot tub clubs work pretty well. It's for those of us who love it, it's a great connector. And like the Orchard Club, that's not a thing that everybody does. It's a thing that people are passionate about, put a little bit of money and a little bit of work into.
And that way the people who don't want to contribute to it don't have to. It's a really nice system. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So is that how it works as far as work share type thing for the property?
Those are really the exceptions, though. Most things, maintaining the grounds, maintaining the buildings, we all take in. Different people focus more on different things. But for instance, when the community decided we wanted to be welcoming to more kids, a bunch of people spearheaded this project to put in the nice swing set. But this is all community money and all kind of shared community work hours. Everybody pitched into the playground. Maybe it's a village thing, but everybody pitches into the clothes drying racks. Maybe a more eco thing. But the particular case of the orchard, I think because it's so much work, and the hot tub, because people had some mixed feelings about the hot tub, those are exceptions to our normal everybody in.
Yeah, we have Coho Days on the 3rd Sunday each month, which is a work party for 3 hours, which is where we get a lot of the outdoor work done. But some people work in the common house on cleaning or various little projects that go on.
Fixing bugs in the Coho software.
Exactly. So People come forward with the projects they're going to work on, and then you get people to join your crew. And then we have a lunch, which someone's also cooking the lunch for everyone. And then we have a nice meal. And then we have a business meeting where we discuss all these things, and, various times a year, budgets or social activities or, conflicts sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a set number of hours that people should be working, or?
No, we have no participation rules or minimums or anything. It's all volunteer, and those things do ebb and flow with people's lives. With if they have a medical thing, if they have kids, if they're working, depending on your age. So there's no requirements. We're pretty understanding of what people.
I would say there's also a certain amount of peer pressure, like in a way, like. Yeah. When my kids were little, right, at move-in, we had a 2-year-old, and shortly thereafter, my partner and I had 2 kids, and when we were head down in toddlers, we did some CoHo things, but people understood a lot of it was our contribution to the community was mainly taking care of kids. And I was on the facilitation team, so I did a little bit more, but mostly it was just the kids. But then as our kids have hit high school, well, now it's understood that I have a lot more time, and I put more of it into CoHo. You've done a ton of CoHo work, but now that you've got a little, I think you're giving yourself a little permission to have some of the ebb.
Exactly.
And that's
and it changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
well, I think there's definitely an understanding that people will move in and like you said, join a few teams, or you don't have to be on a team actually, but some people mow a lot of lawns, but they're not on a team. And so that's perfectly wonderful because that's a lot of work. So there's so many ways to contribute that are not necessarily a team. And you can do it on your own schedule too, because everyone has, are you a night owl or a morning person?
Part of what we try to do with the CoHo Day is the dream, we're not there yet, is that we can make the CoHo Day inviting enough that 1 day a month, sometimes people are out of town. We're not asking people to skip their sister's wedding because there's a CoHo Day, but we try to make it so that, if you're a morning person and you like to do the outdoor thing, you come to the work party and that's a way to connect, or you come to the meal and that's a way to connect, or you come to the meeting and that's a way to connect. And most people can feel themselves in one of those.
We have a little campfire spot. One of our neighbors hosts the annual burn your homework school year. At the end of the school year, come and burn your schoolwork for the year. Start your summer off.
There's a little path here that'll take you down to the community park and play fields. So.
Yeah, and then over here's the garden. So here's our garden. We have a shed full of tools and equipment. This is all shared. The garden is a mix of individual plots that if someone wants a plot, it sounds like, again, that changes. There used to be more of a scramble for plots.
Yeah.
But some people have started to garden less and less. So there's individual plots you could have if you just want to garden on your own. And then there's a couple people who have a little community garden club, and we garden together and can rotate the food between the different plots. And over there is our huge row of compost. So
turns out with 34 households, there's a lot of biomass. And so these composts will eat anything, meat, dairy. I wonder if there's a thermometer in one of them. Sometimes.
Yeah. But here's our flag is to indicate the active compost. So households will bring their individual compost and scraps from the common house kitchen, as well as plants from the garden. We have a big weed pile for people to then, and then a couple people manage the compost. So we'll add the right layers at the right time and take care of it. And then it turns into compost that goes straight back, finished compost that goes straight onto the plots.
We got these deliveries of chips and leaves. The city will drop off leaves for us in the fall. And so we've sort of, for a long time, we used to buy chips, and then we found there were arborists who work around here who will need to dump a load of chips. And we just say, hey, anytime, drop chips here, and we'll use those for our paths and leave that as a resource for the neighborhood. And then our neighbors, Flicker and Fur, have in the last few years built this amazing hyper-local farmers market They call this the Little Tuesday Market, but it's just not that little anymore.
Yeah, they grow a lot of food. They have chickens, and they've built that dome for indoor events. And it's just a little tiny farmer's market, and there's vendors with prepared food, vegetables and fruit, and arts and crafts, and they almost always have musicians come and play music. It's just lovely. And so that goes through the spring and summer. So this will be the last month.
And actually, two of the very active people there used to live at Coho.
And so this isn't part of Coho, but
No, but it's amazing. It's
yeah.
yeah.
So do you with them do you organize like events and stuff like that
Well, they
together?
came to dinner just last week.
Yeah, you invited a bunch
Right.
of those.
I play music for them Tuesdays, a couple times a summer. It's a delightful, and they're friends and neighbors.
That's nice that it's not just the Coho community that you.
Right. Oh, so there's another piece. We've had any number, probably a dozen families approach us and couldn't find a unit of the right size when they wanted to move in. So they bought houses across the street. And they come to meetings, they come to meals. They can even run teams from not living here, but they're active members of our community.
Yeah, they're called Friends of Coho is the name, and so they can pay dues depending on how active they are or not.
They can have access to
and
our
they get all the
computer
emails
system.
and yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Coho is spreading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it started at the beginning, right?
Yeah, from the beginning, because there were some folks who were really actively involved who decided not to buy. And one of those households has since moved in. But and that's kind of always been, one of my neighbors talks about we're a community inside a community inside of a community. I mean, Corvallis itself is a small college town, right? It's got some sense of community. And then we live in Southtown Corvallis, and Southtown has an active listserv. It's a place where people know each other fairly well. And then we're a tighter knit subset of that. But I like that idea of. One of our challenges is, and it's a nice problem to have, we haven't had a lot of people who've wanted to move out. A lot of folks are successfully aging in place. And Corvallis property values have climbed. So one of our real challenges is how do we make it affordable? Because it's really precious to us to be a multi-generational community. And there aren't as many young families who can afford to buy. So we formed a nonprofit called Intergenerational Living Corvallis to try to figure out how we can make that easier and more doable. And so far, the main things that organization does is we have a relief fund if people have trouble making their HOA dues.
This is a beautiful little woods trail. You could come forward.
Yeah.
The only drawback, be careful about, we do sometimes get poison oak. You'll see those red flags. Do not touch those.
Like that?
That's some poison oak, trying to creep in.
That's poison oak right here.
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah, the pink flags.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, leaves are 3, leave them be.
Oh, that's right.
We give ourselves this one path through the undeveloped area. We leave the rest more or less to its own devices. Some years in Halloween, this becomes a haunted path. But mostly, when the leaves are in, it's you can kind of feel like you're not inside a city. It's pretty, in the winter, this thins out and you can more clearly see the houses that are just nearby. But it does give us a little space, and so if you want a very short walk in the woods, you can have it.
Yeah, and it's wonderful for little kids to have a little space to explore outside. And I think legally this is what Andy was talking about, that it has to remain untouched, undeveloped.
Yeah, open agricultural space is the technical term.
So it's another nice way to preserve a little pocket of nature.
There's actually a really interesting thing about what it means to be undeveloped, though. We live in the Willamette Valley, and that means that for at least hundreds of years before Columbus, Native people were doing burns, deliberate burns. It was part of the agriculture here. And so if you leave this land the way it is, you'll have succession. It'll go from this camas field meadow. Camas, we have these beautiful purple blooms certain times a year. It's a staple crop of some of the Kalapuya people, I think. And it will become these hawthorn shrubs and then grow up. And so what is natural, right? If people have been doing something for probably thousands of years, then it's not it's not clear that you should do a non-intervention thing and let it all become trees. Also because we suppress fire, even without human intervention, there would be more fire than we allow now. And so you can see that we're trying different things. I think the technical term is insulation, plastic down. We've actually had come through here with a flamethrower to burn it, different things to try to keep this balance. But it's
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of all the invasive grasses so that the camas and local plants can have a chance.
but it's a kind of an interesting nerd fight about what is natural. In the height of summer, this is probably the most pleasant place on Coho, counting inside air-conditioned units, in my opinion, because this maple tree gives us enough shelter that it's here. Also during COVID, this was the gaming table where I could see my friends. We decided we could sit outside and play a board game. So there was a lot of wingspan here at a time in my life when I desperately needed to talk to someone who wasn't one of the other 3 people in my household.
And this summer, someone put up a hammock here, and I played out here with my baby and 1-year-old, over a year now.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, it was so nice.
Another little thing you'd probably never see is this picnic table was specifically designed with our friend Mike, who's in the wheelchair, involved.
Oh,
So
yeah.
With the
extension.
with the extension there, he could fit his wheelchair under it and use it completely.
I think you can actually see subsistence. It's actually tall enough that a standard wheelchair can go under. It's just sunk over.
Now it's going to be a kid's table.
Now it's going to be a kid's table.
Our little toddler playground here.
This is part of our very deliberate, like, wanting to make the place appealing for youngers, because that is a challenge. We have one baby and a few kind of kindergarten set, but we don't have nearly as many youngers as we used to, and
Yeah,
that's
they've all grown up.
they've all grown up, which
We're-
is a
we're
nice
ready
problem
for
to
the
have.
next crop of littles.
And what is the age range for the community? Like, what's the average age, or
Well,
what's the
my
age
kid
range?
is 14 months,
Okay.
and I don't know who's the oldest member.
I mean, we definitely have people in their 80s. Did somebody in their 90s?
Peter's mother lived with us. She lived till 103.
Yeah, we do have a beautiful picture of 2 people, both named Madeline, and one was just under a year and one was just over 100 at the time the photo was taken.
Before move-in, we hired some person to come and talk to us for Saturday and Sunday about how to make decisions by consensus, as opposed to decisions where her idea and my idea compete, and a whole bunch of people go to her side and people go to my side, and we make a difference between ourselves. So we've learned to resolve things and improve things, actually, with deep talks.
It's a bit
Maybe too long.
Well, but, I mean, people, especially people new to it, often feel that way because oh my gosh, it takes so long. But there's this great graph they shared with us where you can have an autocracy, one person decides. It's very fast. And then people spend a lot of time jockeying for position in the New World Order and getting on the good side of the one person who's going to make the decision and undercutting everything and trying. Or you can wait till you actually have enough agreement to have a majority vote. And by then, it's a lot more work to get there, but by then, half the people or more, at least half, voted for that thing. So they have some buy-in, they have some skin in the game, and you don't have nearly the second guessing that you do when one person makes a decision. And then there's a full meal deal where you wait until, for us, consensus is generally unanimous. And oh my gosh, it can feel like it takes so long. But then you do have kind of a moral stature of, we all agreed to this. If you don't like how this is going, you're part of this and we can find a new thing. But nobody gets to say, oh, I never agreed to this. In fact, we did. And I think that That's a longer road, but it's often a thing. And we do have to work. We have a list of what's not consensus, and one of the things is not consensus is consensus by exhaustion, right? So we have to work at it. All these.
If someone decides, said, like red card something at the end, we ask that person to be more involved and help figure out the solution.
I love that anyone can say, no, this is outside my range of tolerance. I need us to stop. But that isn't I stop you and I walk away. It's I stop you and I commit to lean in. How can we move forward? And that's huge. Yeah. One thing that was really helpful before move-in, not before you, I don't think, vision and values. The group that was forming this years before move-in sat down and explicitly worked through what's the vision? What are the values of this community going to be? They're all very forward-looking. And now post move-in, we're 18 years in, 17 years in. We're at a point where we're actually revisiting those, because some of them, like one of ours says that we talks about where we'll build the site. Well, we can't move it, it's here. And so now we're looking back at which of these are still alive for us, and we're in this really difficult process of reformulating them. But it's been, again, it's that lots of emotional labor involved in living in community, but also a lot of payoff for that.